Hey guys, I'm making a panel and I've already English wheeled it. I thought about this video after the fact, but I come across something and I figured I'd share it with you. So what I did is I'm making this back piece. I'm not using this tail on this particular Jaguar. It's way off. This is the correct radius and stuff. So what I ended up doing is I English wheeled this panel here and I got a lot of crown. So this panel was actually really bad, like this. So what I ended up doing was putting a inner tube, which I've had on my English wheel, and after I got the crown to the right shape, so once you push it down on a table where it would lay more flat, you can see how much crown you have. And I just kind of eyeballed it, but as you can see, it fits basically just like this one. So I started with a 9 by 36 and I scribed about a 1-inch border around the edge with a permanent marker. And then I went in with the inner tube, and since the inner tube's 2-dimension, it bent it, it just bent it in an arc like this, not in a 3-dimension. The English wheel did the 3-dimension. So I kept going back and forth, and then I got the correct amount of crown. So it's, like I said, it's trial and error. I got the correct amount of crown this way, and that's how it fits. It fits really well. But if you notice, I don't know if you can see that, this panel is this way and this way. So it's kind of like the tail on a 34 Ford, or for instance, this 56 Jaguar XK 140. So the inner tube, I brought this up, English wheeled with the steel on steel anvil. Then I went to the inner tube and got it this way. But the reason I want to share this with you is when you do this, what happens is this here, your border, your straight line on your border is no longer straight. It actually kind of does this on both sides because we're stretching. So what I had to do, I had to go in, and on the back side, if you could see it, I need a 1/2-inch fold lip. So what I did is I put a straight edge in there, and I had to lift it up, because if you lay it flat, the corners kind of tail away. So I had to pick it up flat to give me a straight edge. Then I measured the 1/2 inch, did the same thing, and I cut off the excess. But when you look at my original scribe lines, you're not going to see them because it's so hard to see. It's about 3/4 of an inch here from where my border was, but down here it's a 1/2 inch. So that's how much it's stretched. So what I'm going to do now, I'm working from one side to the other. So I made this panel to go here. And then what I did is on the bottom side, since this one's already flat, I lined up my existing scribe lines for my border that I made. And then underneath I scribed my straight line. And then I used the ruler to make it definitely straight across. So I'm going to come down here, I'm going to bend this edge around to a 90. Then once I have that, I can shove it up to where I want it. And I can come in here and scribe the back lip right here. I could scribe that lip. And then obviously with my micrometers, I can figure out the distance and I can subtract it a little bit. So it's the same exact panel, but this one I made and this one is on the car. The whole reason I'm not trying to butcher this one up is the customer, he's in this thing so much money. This does not fit. I don't want to kind of scab this apart to make that. I mean, some guys would, but when you spend the money he did on this car, on this particular body that does not fit, we're going to try to sell it as a whole. The reason it does not fit, we strongly think it's made for a 120, which is a little bit narrower. This thing is about a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch off, width-wise, everywhere we pulled measurements. So I'm not going to hack this up. I just started making this panel. I'm waiting for some more measurements to get to me. But this is the tail panel. And then I'll fix the outer fenders of the original ones. And then I'll get this in, and then it'll give me my border, and then I can start building everything inside, because I need a perimeter of where I'm going to go. But I figured I'd share this with you. And then while I'm here, I'm just going to use the tipping wheel to start and to follow my line. And that's going to be the best way to at least get the initial line drawn on that panel. So I'm going to swap out these dies. And you guys, because I have a set of 90-degree dies, but I also have the tipping wheel. So the tipping wheel is going to help me follow my line consistently and start putting a light break in it on the arc that is already existing in that panel. Because at this point, you can't go over to your sheet metal brake and put a bend in it. If this panel was flat in the very back, it didn't have this convex shape, if it was just a flat panel, you could put two 90s in it in the brake, go over to the shrinker stretcher and shrink that arc into it, but it's just going to be a flat panel. It's not going to be anything else. So I'm going to get all this set up and then I'll show you the flange. Alright guys, I got it all set up. I've got so much car parts in my shop, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start folding this flange over. After I trimmed it on a straight line, I could use this fence. It's just I'm doing such a small flange, I actually can't use the fence, so I'm just going to put it there just to kind of help me. So all I'm going to do is pick up on this corner just a little bit, and then I'm going to run this through. So I can get that initial line hit of what I'm looking for. Alright, so I rolled my first one, so it kind of dignifies and shows me where my line's going to be. And then from that point, I'm just going to bend it, to 90 in here. And I just got to keep going, make multiple passes. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying my best to keep this panel as flat as I possibly can. Obviously you see it going uphill, that's because there's an arc, it's the arc that I'm following. So that's just a little bit more. And I'll just keep going until I get it to 90. And if you guys are doing this at home, if you see after you get done with the panel, and I'll show you because it'll probably have a little one in it, like a whoop-de-doo in the flange that you're bending, or if you lose pressure with my left hand from holding the panel up, because I'm pretty much just bending it, it'll put like a pucker in your flange. And it's not, don't think that it's anything that you're doing like radically wrong, but what it is, it's how flat you're actually holding the panel. So that time I made a pretty good run with it, but as you can see, like right here, I started and then the panel fell. So that's where you're getting this little pucker. That could all be fixed. Your biggest concern is just getting your edge in there. When it does this too, as you can see, I'm bending it, and in here it's taking some of my arc out. That's where I'm going to have to go back in with the shrinker and stretcher to get this shape. And believe it or not, like if you have a template that you're going off of, like so, it fits pretty perfect actually. So that's what I need. I need it to take some of it out. So if you don't have a template like I do, you can make one. I mean, there's so many different ways. You could bend up a piece in the break, shrink it, stretch it to where it fits your template, what you're going after, and then make your panel fit accordingly. So I've still got to go more on the flange side. Okay, as you can see, I've got a couple puckers in there, but I've got it pretty much to 90. So I'm going to check my fitment, and then, so it's pretty close. These sides got to be come down a little bit. As you can see here, it doesn't fit like this one. So I've got to shrink a little in here, shrink a little on this side. The bottom is pretty perfect. So I hope this guy's kind kind of show you guys how to make this radical panel. And it's just using basic tools. Yeah, they're probably expensive, but it makes our lives easier because we don't have the stamping process for this. So stay tuned. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Little food for thought on this deal. When you stretch this, you can't use that as a straight edge, so do not use it, because if you use it as a straight edge, this will no longer be straight. It'll actually be on a U profile. So thanks for watching, and if you guys go over there and follow my other social media pages, I'd greatly appreciate it, and you guys would see what else is going on. This is part of the Jag. I'm just waiting for measurements before I can really jump into it. So stay tuned, and I'll have more for you.